Shalom, Lord Christ. I'm over 7,000 Yahweh. It's the, excuse me, it's the Atlanta Isupk Monday Night History class. And we're going to get right into it. All right. Okay. Have any of y'all ever heard of the Sabian people before? The Sabian people before? Anybody ever heard of them before? All right. I mentioned them before in time, but it was a Japhetic group, which means they came from Jaffa, right? They were in the land of Europe prior to, the oppressor being there, right? They was in that land. So before Rome really got settled in that place, they were there before that. So they were the people, when Noah came, right? When Noah and his son separated all out, Ham went into Africa, Shem stayed in Asia, and Jaffa went into Europe. Okay? So what ended up happening was, as they went over to Jaffa went over there, of course, the oppressor, when he was trying to take over Rome, through Romulus and Remus, they were brothers, right? They wanted to take over. So then they started doing things which we're going to get into, right? And how they took over this city, right? I mean, how they took over this whole nation of people, all right? The Sabians, right? They lived in the central Apennine Mountains of the ancient Italian peninsula, also inhabiting Latium of the Anio before the founding of Rome. So this is before Rome. So these are your original Greeks, right? Because the Greeks were people of color, right? The original Greeks. Then, of course, it got taken over by the oppressor, and now they started getting into all of the other stuff, like that's where fraternities and all of that stuff come from, right? Just like how they do anything. They take anything and make it homosexual, right? All right. It says, hey, Shalom on Christ.
Shalom on Christ. All
right, God. All right. All right, let's see here. The Sabians divided into two populations after the founding of Rome, which is described by Roman legend. The division, however it came about, is not legendary. The population closer to Rome transplanted itself to the new city and united with the pre-existing citizenry, beginning a new heritage that descended from the Sabians, but also was Latinized. The second population remained a mountain tribal state, coming finally to war against Rome for its independence along with the other Italic tribes. Afterwards, it became assimilated into the Roman Republic. So basically, there was parts like, just with any nation, right? Just like you see how the oppressor right now, right? They are from Russia, and they come and they try to regain Ukraine, right? They all come from the same forefather, right? So now they having little splits and they having little issues between each other, right? So that's what they were. They were separated but they were the same nation of people. Right? Let's see here. All right. The origins of the Sabians cannot be determined with full certainty, but they are believed to have been a region of current Lazio since the prehistoric times, once Roman Republic was established. They assimilated into the culture and became citizens of Rome. So Lazio is like being part of Italy. They were all part of that tribe, all of that area of Rome before, Rome became a nation. It became a power, a superpower, right? Let's see here. Dionysus regarded Lystra as the mother city of the Aborigines. Ancient historians debated the specific origins of the Sabians. Xenodotus of Trozen claimed that the Sabians were originally Umbrians that changed their name after being driven from Rheaton territory by the Pelagetians. So, let me see here. All right. So we're just saying how they got here, some literary evidence, how they moved to this place. So, of course, they all, like I said, they came from Jaffa. They already established there, and they were moving, trying to get their own land. Every nation has to have their own land, right? Let's see here. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Okay. Now here's where it gets interesting at. So, has anybody ever wondered why in Israel we don't have marriage certificates? Anybody ever wondered that? You ever wondered that? You ever wondered that? Why we don't have marriage certificates? The main thing is it's not our culture, right? It's not our culture. It's not a sin to get a marriage certificate. It's not a sin, but that doesn't mean that you're married. See what I'm saying? The actual marriage is laying down with that woman. That's what marriage is. You know, in some states you can marry a dog. You notice? You can marry an animal. Two homosexuals can get married, right? There's literally, I think it was a story. She married a horse. A woman married her horse. So marriage, it doesn't matter. So because here's the thing: when you are married, right? The woman, that's why like the man. Okay, if you notice, whenever we do our ceremonies, if we've ever been privy to it, how it happens is the man, or even Commander Junior Hanna, he takes the woman's hand and he puts it in the man's hand. Because now it's an exchanging of property, right? It's an changing of this woman. She's now gone from being, her father, being her father's property to the husband's property. That's why it's the dowries, all of that is involved. He's now giving her to this man, right? That's where all of that comes from. Because he's giving her to this man. You understand? So that's where that generally comes from. But then now we have marriage certificates. Why do we have to have a marriage certificate? Right? Even back in the days, black people, what we used to do, we used to write in, all the people got married, wrote in the Bible, didn't we? Right? Marriage, we had stuff, they would jump the broom, right? That was signifying the marriage. Why do we have to have a certificate? You know what I'm saying? Y'all can actually, like, people could get married, right? And never even lay with each other. Go ahead.
Right. So what does the ring represent? Like, what does that come into play at?
I forgot, but I'll see if I get into that before I do. I might see if I can find it real quick. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I do remember seeing that broke down to me before. Alright. But a lot of things like that is just publicized to make it, to make it commercialized. So, like diamonds, I don't even think diamonds was even like a real stone that people used until like the 1900s. So that wasn't like everybody's what you call it, like, precious stones or whatever, precious metals. It's always been like gold, silver, rubies, emeralds, all of that, right? Diamonds wasn't really one of them like that. But it wasn't until, of course, it could be commercialized and they can monopolize it, which a monopoly is they can control who gets it. So like, okay, Let's say if you wanted to have to make cheeseburgers, right? Or just whatever. Say you wanted to make, I don't know, clothes, right? Only you can make clothes. Like that's what a monopoly is. Only that person makes clothes. You can't get it from anywhere. So what they would do is because you can only get it from them, they can hike the price up. That's why like having a monopoly in America is considered illegal, right? That's why like even with who's that dude that did a lot of oil back in like 1800s? Can't think his name. Standard Oil. You ever heard that before? I think it was a Rockefeller, right? John Rockefeller, and he had Standard Oil, right? The reason why he had to break it up was because he had a monopoly on the oil, pretty much. So he had to break up all his company off the oil because it was a monopoly. And now because it was a monopoly, you can charge as much as you want. It doesn't let like competition come in. That's why that's why like you got companies like you ever notice how like the post office, they the biggest buttholes?
Yes.
Because they had a monopoly. See what I'm saying? Only the post office can deliver mail. Of course, you can get your packages from UPS, FedEx, DHL, all of this, but the post office, you can only get your mail through them. Your light bill, right? If you got Georgia Power, you call them, they about cuss you out when you call them, right? It's a monopoly. The only reason why they can't charge is because the government controls how much they can charge. But if it wasn't for the government regulation, they could be able to charge whatever they want for power. Because there's no competition in it. See what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
Is that kind of like how they be doing the gas?
Mm-hmm.
They be price gouging with the gas, and they still got a certain limit they can charge you, but they'll try to hit the threshold of it.
Mm-hmm.
In some places.
Yeah, because everything is based upon supply and demand. So demand is like, for you to have lights in your house is going to be high, right? So they could charge you the same as you pay for rent or a mortgage if the government will allow it. You know what I'm saying? There's literally like laws enacted so that they can't charge. There's literally laws. You can find the laws. They're literally enacted so they can't charge whatever they want for like gas, water, electric, all of that. Otherwise they'll just put the prices up. Alright? So that's what diamonds were, because it was something kind of new. They made a prestige about diamonds, and now because they can control it, which is of course the devils that say that they us. So they use that and they pushed it so that they can say, this diamond is precious or whatever, when it's really not as precious as rubies and all gold, and it's not as precious as those, right? But then they pushed it up so now they can make a bigger market, right? Which is the same thing they do even with their wedding rings, right? Alright. So let me get into this story real quick. Okay. Now you all know every civilization believed in polygyny, right? Which is a man having more than one wife, right? Every civilization. That goes from us to the all the way down to the Elamites. I talked to Elamite before. I said, didn't y'all ancient times y'all have more than one wife? He said, yeah, we did. And then all of a sudden, when the world got Christianized, they stopped doing it. So you go from the Chinese to the Japanese, all of them believed it. What changed, right? It was Christianity that changed. But you think that it was Christianity that wasn't it, because if you want to go and say for real, the Bible, when it says about Christianity, it said nothing like that. What did Christ say? He said, he that puts away his wife and gets another has committed adultery. Right? So that means he got to keep both of them. See what I'm saying? All right. Now this is marriage in ancient Rome. It was a strictly monogamous institution. A Roman citizen by law could have only one spouse at a time. So you're only able to have one spouse at a time. You can have as many side chicks as you want, right? And this is where, you know, the term, you ever heard of bastard children or illegitimate children comes from? You can only, like, if, you know, say like a brother and sister, they was married, right? Not they were brother and sister, but they just, a man and a woman, right? They were married. If he had another woman and got her pregnant, that child couldn't inherit anything. He was considered a bastard child, right? So then, what am I trying to say? Then, like I said, that's how that would work. So, but then, because before, you know, all of the times before, they would have, you know, more than one. Now, why did they do this? Because there's a couple of reasons why they started doing this. For one, the oppressor don't like women. Let's be real. They only want women for procreation. Let's just be real. They don't like women. And we all know black men like women, right? Let's be honest. They like each other, right? I was watching when I was studying here, before I was studying on the way here, I seen a picture of it was like like showed a picture. They said you can't even, like, they basically would say you can't even tell if it's a man or a woman. But actually it was a young boy that was looking like a woman with the way even they dressed their hair. So the men like little boys. That's why if you ever look at they women, they look like little boys.
Right.
Am I lying? They don't like hips and thighs. And they don't like none of this stuff, right? They don't like that. They want them to be shaped like a little boy. I think even what Captain Zariak said one time, he said that the sickest thing he ever heard was, I think he said it was Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, it was one of them celebrities. He said that she was shaped perfect, just like a 10-year-old boy.
Damn.
Wow.
That is disgusting. I'm telling you, if I see a woman shaped like a 10-year-old boy, I don't want her. Says you need to come get a hamburger, a cheeseburger, or something. You need to do something with yourself. Looking like I couldn't do it, right?
Wow.
So they don't, like I said, they don't like women. They only like women for procreation. You gotta remember they had their military set up. That we was talking about it before, but they were literally like I can't remember when I was talking about it, but they felt like it was a way that they can, like, fight harder if they would lay with each other. This is how sick they were, man. Like the armies or whatever, they would literally lay with each other. That's why in the armies and stuff like that, right? The army, they don't have any for you to take a shower, everybody just gonna look at you when you're taking a shower. Cause they feel like if y'all love each other, y'all gonna fight harder for each other. Like I said, they don't like women, man. That's the main reason right there. You can even go back to the popes, man. The popes and all of the Catholic priests, right? What do they believe in? They believe in a woman, like they would make a woman be chaste. Do y'all know what that means?
Lies, sir.
They would make a woman not lay with a man. She would have to be a virgin her entire life.
Damn.
That's a waste, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what kind. They would do that, and you gotta think, what did the priests do? What would the priests do? They supposed to not lay with women, right? Same with the nuns, right? What kind of message that you gonna have perfectly good, not getting explicit because we got children here, but you got perfectly good woman, and you gonna let her just sit there and rock. Don't make no sense, do it?
Oh God.
It's gonna rock. So, like I said, they don't like women. That's why their whole culture is about not laying with women. But guess what the priests do? What do? Lay with little boys.
Right.
Do they not? And when they get caught and they get ousted, what they do? we gonna move you from Atlanta. We just gonna move you to Savannah and let you go get them choir boys out there. Right? This is their culture. They like little boys. They don't like women. So that's one of the main reasons why they push that. Right? Let's see here. The practice of monogamy distinguished the Greeks and the Romans from other ancient civilizations. You see that? That distinguished them. Because everybody else was like, no, we can have more than one. They said, nah, we're going to stay with only one. Right? Meanwhile, having side chicks. Don't think they didn't. Come on now. They had side chicks, side dudes, side monkeys, side horse, whatever. Whatever worked, right? They would go buy whores. Don't think they didn't do this now. They had prostitutes. Don't think they only lay with her. Don't think that was the way that happened. You know, they love a whorish woman. Right? They love that. They even got something they call, I ain't gonna let children in here, but Cuck and some more letters. What is that? Disgusting, right?
I like to watch. It's a lot.
Exactly. How you gonna watch your woman with somebody else? That don't even make sense. I'll be ready to kill somebody, man. You know what I'm saying? That is disgusting. And they want to sit there and watch and do other things, right?
Right.
That is disgusting. Alright? Okay, that distinguished them, which elite males typically have multiple wives, right? Greco-Roman monogamy may have arisen from the egalitarianism of the democratic and republican political systems of the city-states. Alright? So, that shows you right there. It's the egalitarian. You might know what egalitarianism is.
Sir.
Okay. Did you know? Alright. Egalitarianism. It is how when they say that men and women are equal, that's what it means. It comes from the word equal. Egalitarian. Okay? And don't think that you think like it's new. It's new about the Democrats and the Republicans. No, this was back in Rome. This is nothing new. They didn't just make this up when they decided to become a nation. So, like, this is something old, right? And because the same way you gotta think of Rome as it was before, the same way it is now. Women wanted to have equal rights and they were giving it to them. And so this was part of it, right here, right? Like women because they don't like women, so they abuse them. You know what I'm saying? They abuse their women. So that's the difference between black men, we typically treated our women well, right? Of course you got some, that don't, but you know what I'm saying? But typically they had better treatment than they would in the Roman places, right? And then they started doing egalitarian, which they started giving them rights, all of that stuff, right? Let's see here. It is one aspect of ancient Roman culture that was embraced by early Christianity, which in turn perpetuated it as an ideal in later Western culture. What's Western culture? Nobody know what Western culture is?
Sir.
American culture.
American culture. Come on.
All right. Marriage had mythical precedents, right? This with the Romans, starting with the abduction of the Sabian women. This is the beginning of the marriage. It started with the abduction of Sabian women. All right, which may reflect the archaic custom of bride abduction. Romulus and his band of male immigrants were rejected connubium, the legal right to intermarriage. So they weren't able to intermarry with other nations of people, right? You only can marry Roman women. So they couldn't marry the Sabian women. So according to Livy, was the person that tells the story about what happened to the Sabian women, Romulus and his men abducted the Sabian maidens but promised them an honorable marriage in which they will enjoy the benefits of property, citizenship, and children. Y'all see this? They kidnapped them, but promised them they would get an honorable marriage, they would get property, citizenship, and children. What does that sound like? What that sound like to y'all?
Like y'all wrong, it sound like bribing them or something like that, right?
Exactly. You basically kidnapped them. They grabbed them and took them. And then after that, oh, well, we're going to give you an honorable marriage and some children. You know, you can own property, right? You can own some of this stuff, right? You can get citizenship in Rome after they kidnapped them, right? These three benefits seem to define the purpose of marriage in ancient Rome. Y'all hear that? This is what defined marriage: owning property, children, and citizenship. Y'all see this, right?
Okay.
They didn't care about no love. You know what I'm saying? What they say? First it was love, then it was marriage, then it came the baby and the baby. They didn't care about none of that. They didn't want no love. They don't love women. They just like whatever they can, you know what I'm saying? What's another word? Labor, pretty much. They don't care what it is, right? The word matrimonium, the root for the English word matrimony. Y'all heard that before, right?
Okay.
Defined the institution's main function, involving the mater, which is the mother. It carried with it the implication of the man taking a woman in marriage to have children. This was the idea conventionally shared by Romans as the purpose of marriage, which would be to produce legitimate children. Citizens producing new citizens. Right? So that's why they got married. They just produced more citizens of Rome. Consortium is a word used for sharing of property, usually used in a technical sense for the property held by heirs, but it could also be used in the context of marriage. Such usage was commonly seen in Christian writings. However, the sharing of water and fire was symbolically more important. It refers to the sharing of natural resources. Worldly possessions transfer automatically from the wife to the husband in archaic times, whereas the classical marriage kept the wife's property separate, right? In order for the union of the man and a woman to be legitimate, there needed to be consent legally or morally. Both parties or their fathers had to consent to the marriage in order for the marriage to happen. During the reign of Augustus, the father had a valid reason for not consenting to the marriage. He had to give a valid reason for not consenting to his marriage, right? So this was like, just like anytime we deal with the Caucasoids, right? Anytime we deal with them, they say things on paper, right? They say things out to you in public, but what do they do when it benefits them? They scrap all that, right? They say everybody in America is free until you wanted to vote, right? And when they say, oh no, you 3/5 of a man. But I thought the Constitution said every man is free. He's a man, he has God-given rights, right? Unalienable rights, right? But what they do, when it benefits them, they change the laws. Alright? Matter of fact, hey Morris, are you still on? Alright, give me the book of Daniel, chapter 8. Alright.
Daniel.
Here, 8. Go to verse 21.
8 and 21. Daniel, 8 and 21. And the rough coat is the king of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
So it's talking about Greece, right? The person between his eyes is the first king, right? And it's talking about Grecia, because you know Greece and Roman, you can put in the same boat, right? Keep going.
Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up forth, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
Now it's telling you that the Roman, because people think that when Rome stood up, right, they think that Rome was together. Rome was not united, right? Rome was very divided. So 4 people stood up, right, and started ruling Rome. Keep going.
Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the fore, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
So it's talking about a king of fierce countenance, right? That means he had a fierce look in his eye, right? And it said that transgressors are come to a full. When all of the sinning that they do come to a full, a king of fierce countenance. Let's talk about Alexander, the so-called great. All right? And he gonna stand up. Keep going.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
Uh-huh.
And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
He gonna destroy, because he was regarded as the the greatest military tactician, of the earth that ever existed, right? And he gonna prosper, and he gonna destroy the mighty and holy people. He gonna destroy Israel. That's what the Greeks did. They destroyed Israel. Keep going.
Verse 25. And through his policy.
Through his policy. His policy. What's his policy? His policy is his laws. He makes his laws to benefit him. That's the thing that's with our oppressor. He uses his laws to benefit them. The reason why they had forced monogamy is because it benefited them. Right? It benefited them. It benefited what they were doing. It's not because they cared about women, but it benefited what they were trying to do. Right? Keep going.
Also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Yep, he gonna use craft. So he gonna be crafty about what he does to make sure he prospers. Keep going.
He shall magnify himself in his heart.
He gonna magnify. He gonna get bigger in his heart with it, right? Keep going.
And by peace shall destroy many.
What do they do when they come somewhere? They come acting like they want to be peaceful with you. And they do that, and then they come and destroy you. They kill you. All right, keep going.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes.
So he gonna stand up against the prince of princes. He gonna stand up against Christ. He gonna stand up against whoever is coming against them that's of the Most High. He gonna stand up against them. Right? Keep going.
He shall be broken without hand.
He gonna be broken. How did Alexander the Great die? He died from syphilis. Right? That's how he died. From syphilis. He went crazy and died. Nobody did anything to him. He just died. Right? Because he was a sick bastard. All right? You can stop right there. All right. Let me see if I can go back to this real quick. Okay. Carrie, have you ever, and the one thing too, like you seen how, like in the customs of America, a man, he would carry his bride when they get married. That's a representation of something. Everything they do is a representation of something. So it says carrying the bride across the threshold into a room after the wedding ceremony is a tradition that has gone out of style, but it's been in dozens of romantic comedies and dates back thousands of years. It also has a horrifying history behind it. In tradition, according to the academic encyclopedia, Marriage Customs of the World, dates back to the rape of the Sabian women, an event in Roman mythology where Roman soldiers abducted and raped the women in surrounding regions. The women were carried off against their will. Bizarrely, the event turned into a common Roman wedding practice. Y'all see that? So they basically took the women, and now when they took them, they made a practice of it. So now they carry all the women. They make like a mockery of it, right? Just like how they do with the Native Americans. They have Indian heads everywhere. Like the Cleveland Indian sign is an Indian head. The Redskins, all of that. They got all of that, right? So, but all right. Let me see here. So it became a wedding. It became basically a Roman wedding practice, right? Let me see here. Okay. The bride will run off to her mother while the bride, this is according to the encyclopedia, right? Will run off to her mother while the bridegroom and his friends would intercept her and pull her away. So they would grab her and pull her away while she's trying to run to her mother. And this is the practice that they have. And a group of people, not just the groom, would carry the bride into the house. So because they taken this woman, right? They abducted her. So this is all representation of that. All right? The most direct interpretation of tradition is that it's a benign recollection of marriage by capture. But the encyclopedia also offers a more charitable interpretation, of course, right? That the wife wants to make a show about how she is eager to leave her parents' home and start a family of her own. So now they got to make it into, when they literally they really abducted these women. Now they got to make it, oh, the woman, she just don't want to leave her family and start a family of her own. That's why she did that. No, they didn't want to be with a Roman. That's all it was. They wanted to be with their own people. They wanted to marry their own men. That's all it was, right? I think that's pretty much it on that. Okay. All right. All right. Now this is the rape of the Sabian people. Okay? This is where it comes out at. The Sabian people lived in the Apennine Mountains of ancient Italy, right? They lived in Italy, where Italy is known today, right? According to scholars and historians, the sad event of rape and abduction of the Sabian women took place just a few days after the foundation of Rome in 8th century BC. The alleged crime was committed by Romulus, the first king and founder of Rome, and his male followers. Rome is named after Romulus. Rome, Romulus, that's where it comes from. Right? The Romans planned the abduction of Sabian women from the neighboring towns in an effort to populate their city with more women who would wed the men and ensure the legacy of the strong city, giving birth to a new generation of strong men. So now they want to mix in, they want to take the women to have more children so they can raise up more, men to be, stronger and all of this. This is how you know they weak. They had to even go to the Sabian people. You know where the Sabian people is today? The Sabian people is the Eskimos and the people like the Pacific Islanders. So, of course, after this event, after all this stuff happened, they ran them out of their city, and they ended up going to, high up in the mountains, became Eskimos, and they also fled to the Pacific Ocean. They ran them out of there after all these events occurred. All right. Go ahead.
The Sabian people, would that be Japheth, sir?
God, that's the Japhites. That's what the Sabian people are. Uh-huh. All right. Let's see here. The events that took place remain controversial to this day as historians contest the original motives of Romulus and his men. The abduction, right? The famous Roman historian Titus Livius, known as Livy, recounts the incident in his famous historical book called Ab Conditus. Of course, was like written in Latin, Greek, translated from its founding of the city. Livy describes Rome during that period as a stable and strong city, capable of defending itself against any army. However, the strength derived from the increasing male bandits populating the city also posed a threat to the continuation of the mighty city, as it had few female inhabitants. So, of course, they loved having men laying with them. They was a strong army. But then they said, man, we can't keep it going if we don't have any women. We got to have women for what? Not because they love women, but because they needed children, right? Romulus grew concerned about the subsequent birth to death rates and began negotiations with neighboring areas to convince them of marrying their women to Roman men. So now they go in and try to be what they call diplomatic, right? Yeah, let's try to get some of your women over here, right? Try to be diplomatic. They saying, because we notice, like, they don't reproduce that quickly. The reason why they're able to produce to the extent that they have is because they raped and killed people to reproduce, right? Let's see here. All right. The negotiations were unsuccessful with all the tribes. So they didn't want to give their women up to them, right? Because do you know why? What happens if you give their women up to them? For one, two things. They probably actually like women, right? They probably actually like women. The Sabians probably like women, for one. And then two, they giving up their nation. Because if they men not procreating with them, they losing the women for them to okay, what do we grow their nation? Make sure their nation is stable. Because you know the man carries the seed, right? All right, all the tribes and cities they appeal to. The Sabians in particular declined as they feared the growing strength and might of the new Roman city. So they seen that they were already growing. So he was saying, okay, if they keep growing, do you see the same thing with Pharaoh, right? Remember, they didn't have a problem with us, but they seen how fast we were growing. And then they said, okay, we're gonna make them slaves, right? And they seen that they were growing. Like, if you know anything about the Eastern, you know, like I think the Philippines is another part of Sabians too. They Japhetic, I believe. If you notice something about them, they don't really have like a lot of beef with people. They real calm. They stick to themselves and their family. You never see like a Hawaiian fighting people. You don't hear about like them starting wars. You don't hear about the Eskimos starting beefs. Have you ever heard that before in your life? Never. So Japheth is probably going to be the only, like they're the ones that put Israel in captivity the least. I think we were only in captivity under them for like not even 100 years at the most. Like I'm talking, it's probably like 8 years. I'm thinking if my memory serves me right. This was like something like that. And after we seen, we was under the captivity for a little while and we got out of it. But we had a little bit of, we had almost no spats with Japhetic people because they very calm. They just want to, play on drums and be big as hell. If you know anything about them, well, they big as hell. That's like, The Rock. His mother's side is like, what is the term that they call themselves, man?
Samoans?
Samoans. I could not think of that word. I want to call them mammals or something. I could not think of the damn word. But Samoans. That's what they were, Samoans. He's part Samoan from his mother's side. He's actually a Jake from his father's side. But you know anything about Samoans? They big as hell. They women look like linebackers. Like they go hard in the key. They big as hell. You don't want to try to run up the A gap with them.
Like, is this the sumo wrestlers? Is it?
No, I think that's
Okay,
Chinese or
that's
Japanese.
Okay.
No, they don't like they do that purposely eat to get that big. No, they just big. They don't do nothing about it. Like look how big the Rock is.
Yeah.
That's because he's Samoan in some parts. His mother's side. They're just big people. Like they women got shoulders like big. They just big people, right? So when they don't really cause no beef with nobody, they don't start no fights. They just stick to their own, and that's how they were at this point. They want their own women, of course. They want to do their own thing. They was out of all the heathen nations, they were probably the most peaceful, right? So that's what they were doing, right? Let's see here. Romulus and his followers then plotted to abduct Sabian women and force them to wed Roman men during the festival of the Neptune Equester. So they waited till like a festival came, right? Of course, that's what they always do. Wait till you in celebratory or something. They wait till your feast days. They go and try to kill you, right? They also organized a few games to attract people from Rome's neighboring cities, including Sabian, Canina, and Antemne. So it was like the other little tribes all around, right? When the festival was in full swing, Romulus gave the signal to his men, and they immediately abducted the Sabian women. So he said, okay, you got them. He doing whatever signal it is, and they just start yanking them up, carrying them away, right? Hostages. The historian Livy counts as many as 30 women to have been kidnapped and raped by the Romans that day. On that day. all of whom were said to be virgins, except Hercelia, who later became Romulus's wife. Now, you know what's sick about that? To show you how nasty they are, right? They were all kidnapped and raped by Romans on that day. Now you gotta think, this is not, well, okay. They in the same spirit of America, but this is ancient times. So women that lay with other men was not considered a choice of what you should take, especially if you were a ruler or something like that. If you had status, you were, it was more proper for you to have a woman that's never known a man. But he took a woman right here. He took a woman right here that she was married to another man at that time. And he took her and made her his wife. This should show you how nasty they are. This is the ancient time. This ain't today. Today, all of them, none of them would be virgins. And they would love it. Right? And he became Romulus's wife. Romulus was a prominent figure, of course. His name is where Rome comes from, right? All right? Now, it's the aftermath of it. Enraged by this horrible crime committed by Romulus and his men, the armies of the betrayed surrounding cities and towns attacked the Roman territory. They came fighting. They wanted, like, now, you didn't piss them off. You didn't took their women. You didn't took their, this is their children. They were, don't think these women weren't betrothed to somebody else. They just came and took them. You could have been a young man saying, okay, because like this time they was raising each other up to get married. So like, let's say if me and Mashallah or something, we grew up together and we was always good friends. We would raise up, like if I had a daughter, he had a son, they would raise each other up and say, okay, we want y'all to get married when y'all get older. And that's what they would do. Don't think so. These women were betrothed to people. They were already given away. And they just came in a festival and just snatched them up. Right? So of course, they pissed off about this. Man, this supposed to be my woman, right? This is my daughter. They pissed off. The king of Canina marched with his troops to the outskirts of Rome. They were met by the Roman army. However, they were defeated following the killing of their king in 752 BC. So they went to fight, and and the Roman army killed one of this is Canina. This is not the Sabian, which I think they were all Japhetic people. But I got to give more clarification, but I think they were all Japhetic people. They just had like different, of course, like different tribes. Just like you got your oppressor that's in America, you got your Portuguese oppressors, you got your oppressor that's in Australia, Great Britain, and they all move a little differently. Great Britain, they real polite. You got the ones in Russia that sound like Dracula. You know what I'm saying? You got them, so they all move differently. The ones out there in Russia, they real serious and uptight. But in Great Britain, they extra polite. So this is like, but they all the same nation. They just got different cultures mixed in, right? So Romulus and his men celebrated a second victory in the same year, but the Temnates actively invaded Roman land in retaliation for the events that took place during the festival of Neptune. They were also defeated, and the Temnates fell and were seized by the armies of Romulus. So they also fell. There's another surrounding tribe. They attacked them, and they fell. You know how if you notice, they attack differently, right? At different times. Because of course, what the oppressor always get at doing? Dividing and conquering. So, and they always that's like with them, I say the oppressor, they're not good at battling hand in hand. They're good at warfare. See what I'm saying? There's a difference. Back in the day, like we was boxing, you couldn't have no oppressor dude. He couldn't touch a Judite or Isupk. They couldn't touch him, right? But they're good at warfare. they're good at the entire warfare. So they'll make the Judite and the Isupk hate each other, and they fight each other, and then they come in third party and kill both of them. That's what they're good at. But when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, they're not good at it, as you can see, right? Alright. Roman colonists were dispatched to the captured towns, and some were moved in the Roman capital. King Titus, Tatius of Sabian, declared war on the Romans and attacked Rome. King Titus and his troops managed to capture the citadel on Capitoline Hill after the treason of Tarpeia, the daughter of a Roman governor. Tarpeia opened the city gates for the Sabian troops, but lost her life in the siege. The Roman army, led by Hostilius, a nobleman of ancient Rome, quickly marched on the citadel, but was defeated by Mettus Curtius of Sabian in a battle where Hostilius lost his life. King Romulus then rallied his troops and led them back to the citadel in person and defeated Mettus Curtius. So they had won a battle and defeated one of the Roman armies. But then Romulus came back with his armies and defeated them. All right? Now the conflict between the Sabians and Romans remained alive for some time, but it appeared that Romulus and his troops were on the verge of victory. So they were seeing that it was victory coming against them, but the Sabian men, they still wanted to fight because they, like people that are free want to fight. You know what I'm saying? To preserve their freedom. And at this time, don't get me wrong, they were like, how do you put it? They were kind of captive, but not really. They were on the verge of becoming captives. See what I'm saying? So they were like, you ever see like, you sitting in your hood or whatever, right? But you see the other hood over here, they get larger and larger in power. So you're like, oh crap, what am I about to do? That's kind of like the position that they in. You know what I'm saying? So, but they're not captives yet. They're just fearing that it's going to happen. And then now it's happening, right? All right. However, the Sabian women themselves, led by Romulus' wife and daughter of King Titus, put themselves before both armies and demanded that both parties lay down their arms. So the women went over there and made it so that they didn't fight each other no more, right? The women were said to have thrown themselves amidst the swords and spears along with their children in a desperate attempt to save their fathers and brothers as well as their new husbands. So they're trying to, because unlike the cultures of everywhere else, they teach our women to hate the men. They women actually love their men, and they didn't want their men to be killed. Y'all see that? They laid in the midst of it and said, "Stop fighting," right? Historians tell us that the women felt guilt over the bloodshed that started in their names and wanted to live neither fatherless nor widowed. So they placed the blame on themselves. When that's where the bastard like our oppressor is. He makes the women feel guilty for being kidnapped. So now they feel guilty when they were kidnapped, when they had every right to want war for that. But like I said, they were a peaceful people. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want to see their families dead. So they went and said, you're not going to win this fight. Just chill out, right? Thanks to the courageous intervention of the Sabian women, the war came to an end. And a historical alliance between the two parties, the Romans and the Sabians, agreed to unite under a single nation, and Rome was jointly ruled by both King Romulus and King Titus until he latter passed after 5 years. The Romans agreed that they'll keep the Sabians, you know, the Sabians would keep Capitoline Hill to inhabit. And of course, you know what happened there? They kicked them out of there. And they had to run off and go somewhere else and go get their own land. So that just shows like our oppressor, man, man, I can't think of like who's the most evil person. Everybody was kind of like, don't get me wrong, like they got their ways, but most of them ain't, you know, like, okay, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? But them, they like, nah, we gotta go even further. We gotta do more. Okay, let me see. All right, anybody got any questions at all? Anybody got any questions? Hey, I went through this faster than I expected to. But yeah, that's, for the most part, that's what I wanted to cover. Nobody got any questions or anything at all about this, Sabian women, about any of this? Let me see. All right. Okay. All right. And I got no questions at all. Y'all good. Y'all got anything. Come on, man. Go ahead.
It's like y'all, did you find out about the ring?
I was looking at it a little bit. But I want to try to, I haven't seen what, like, refresh my memory about what I heard, you know, in class before.
Okay.
So I haven't seen that yet. Okay. Well, let me see here. All right. A wedding ring or a wedding band is a finger ring that indicates the wearer is married. It is usually forged from metal and traditionally is forged of gold or other precious metal. Rings were used in ancient Rome during marriage through the practice of exchanging rings during weddings has a Christian origin. Depending on the culture, a wedding ring is typically worn on the base of the left or right ring finger. If the ring wearer is left-handed, it will go on the right hand. If the choice of the ring finger is widely claimed to be associated with the traditional belief known as vena amoris. Many spouses wear their wedding rings day and night, causing an indentation on the skin that is visible even when the ring is removed. All right. That's the history of it. The Western traditions of wedding rings can be traced to ancient Rome and Greece and were first associated with the marital dowry and later for a promise of fidelity. The modern exchange of rings derived from the customs of Europe and the Middle Ages as part of Christendom.
It's a lot, y'all.
Go ahead.
So, what I was told about the wedding ring was like, it came from Rome, but when, like, you know, when the Romans went over and went to war, they would give their wife a ring because they wouldn't see them for a long time. And whoever was back in in Rome knew they were married and their husband was out to war.
I mean, that could be true. I don't remember hearing a breakdown of that. So I'm not going to speak on it if I don't, know the breakdown of it. But I'll check more into it, and I'll probably break it up. Like, I'll get more of a definition of it. We can break down a little bit. I'm just saying a little bit of history that they have on it. But, it's something that just like, but it's like with anything they do because, like, you only can have one, so they want you to know that you married and all of that. So because because they would just go and take women. That's probably one of the reasons. They would just go and take women. Like, black people, you say, we inquire about a sister. Hey man, even to this day, man, we do it. We like, if you somewhere with your boy or whatever, like in an event or something, and you see that you some sister you like, you gonna go over your boy, you be like, hey, you know something about her? You inquire of her, right? But they don't do this. They just snatch her up and carry her into the house. They don't do that, man. They just take her. So to them, so that they know that they don't violate. That's probably why, because they knew they didn't want to give, because adultery was like, it was almost like, even in Rome, that was a big sin. That was a big no-no to do in Rome. So if you did it there, it could bring a bunch of shame into the family, right? So they still would do the same thing. So they have wedding rings, so okay, she already married. All right? Okay. In several traditions, the best man or maid of honor has the duty of keeping track of the couple's wedding rings, then to produce them at the symbolic moment of the giving and receiving of the rings during a traditional marriage ceremony. In more elaborate weddings, a ring bearer, who is also often part of the family of the bride or groom, may assist in the ceremonial parading of the rings into the ceremony, sometimes on a special cushion. And they'll carry it on this pillow, have to bring it into the wedding, right? In Western Christianity, engagement rings are exchanged during a betrothal rite, while wedding rings are given during the celebration of holy matrimony itself. In Eastern Orthodox, Eastern Lutheran, and Eastern Catholic Christians, the exchange of the ring is not technically part of the wedding service, but rather are exchanged after betrothal. It is always a two-ring set given to her by the priest or the best man. Unlike most other Orthodox churches, the Eastern Orthodox Christian Church of Greece has recently stopped performing a betrothal blessings separately, and now a betrothal ceremony is the initial part of the wedding service. So the betrothal ceremony, when they give the ring, like some of them, they would give the rings out before you actually have the ceremony, and some they would give out, during the ceremony. They said they started making the before as part of the whole ceremony. So they just changing how they are. Like I said, Israelite custom is, you might know what Israelite marriage is, what it's like. Anybody want to break that down? Anybody know?
Do you mean like the ceremony?
Yeah, how the whole ceremony go?
Sir, I don't know.
Anybody know? How we got married? Anybody know?
Salakia.
Go ahead.
I just thought sex was marriage.
That's part of it. That's definitely part of it. Okay. I'll break it down briefly. Yeah, Shalom. What's going on?
Giving our dowry to the father with the father's permission, sir.
Yeah, that's part of it. I'll break it all down for y'all, all right? First off, there's first you gotta see your sister. And you see, okay, what's going on with her, right? And you inquire about her. That's what the purpose of the ceremony is for. So people know that the sister is married. So if they see you with her, you commit adultery. You get that? So first you see your sister, you inquire about her sister. Make sure she's not given to another man. She could be betrothed already, but you find out this sister is not betrothed. You see that, she's completely single. She's not married to nobody. Now you go find out about her. Now this is when you go to her father. Her father he's going to give you a yes or a no if you marry his woman or not. Marry his sister, or Slaki. if you if you marry a daughter, now I'm tripping. That's right. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. It started off, I couldn't find my glasses for the whole day. So my brain is tired from looking at this computer screen in my slavery that I can barely see. Trying to see words that is this small. So I'm just looking, I'm right here to the screen, trying to see stuff. And then I've been looking for these glasses. I'm talking from 8 o'clock to like 2. And I just said, F it. I don't want to look no more. And I knew it was going to happen. I ain't had no shame. I just said, yo, man, when you get home, find my glasses for me. I know you're going to find them. I know you're going to find them when you get here. I know you're going to find it in record time. I know it's going to happen. And as soon as I said, yo, when she came, I said, yo, find my glasses for me, baby. Find my glasses. And she was like, you ain't like how you look anywhere? I said, I tore up this whole damn house looking for these glasses. And she like, well, you look like you look too good. They right there on the damn floor. I'm like, how did I was in this spot all day long. It was right by my desk where I work at. My foot ain't touching. It don't help 'cause I'm half blind anyway, right? So I can't even see anyway. So now you take them off, I don't see none of y'all no more. All I see is colors. I take this off. All I see is a blue jean coat and a black shirt back there. I don't see nothing. So that makes it even worse, right? So where is it?
That's what the rib is for.
God, man.
That's what we're for. The helper, but that's what we're for.
God. See, in Israel, we love our women. Like I said earlier, we love our women. We are not Esau. We love our women, man. And she found it, I'm talking about, she didn't even take her coat off yet. And she seen the damn glasses, and like my foot was there. So like I didn't feel it, I didn't step on it, nothing. And it was just right there the whole time. I'm like, I feel like she did this on purpose. I feel like she been trying to get back at me for some, Go ahead and say.
I'm glad you said that because my husband used to always say that I did things on purpose, like I would hide his stuff on purpose. It's so that he can come and ask me. And I'm like, no.
They be hiding it from me.
Right. We just know where everything is.
And they find it in record time, right? You'll be looking for this thing, I'm talking 8-9 hours.
All day.
The whole work day. I just got my eyes hurting, my head hurting from trying to look at stuff I can't see. And she just say, oh, right there.
So like they do it after you give up. You like, I'm
just done, man.
I'm done with it, man.
Man, I didn't move I didn't move the covers off the bed. I didn't move everything around, trying to find the stuff. I didn't move, like everything was moved around, trying to find it. I done moved the nightstand, because I used to lay it on the nightstand. I don't know how I got from there to over there. The nightstand's right here, and it was over here, so I don't know how the hell it happened. But I done moved the nightstand, got behind there, went under the nightstand, maybe it fell in the drawer. Looked all in the drawers, could not find it. And she just said, oh,
Yeah, there you go.
right there, the whole time. And I'm saying, you know what? I ain't even ashamed, man. I'm just glad I can see now. So,
Yeah, right.
Get the Most High hand for great glory. Get the Most High hand for that, right? Goodness gracious. I could not find them things to save my life. So, go ahead,
Come on, concept of water. Every time I lose my keys, I'm reminded that the oppressor is the devil. The Bible says.
Yeah, buddy.
General Muhammad was saying the other day in his class that if it wasn't for his wife, he wouldn't know what the hell a supermarket is for.
God, man. I don't go to supermarkets. Y'all do? I can't do it. So I can't even do it, boy. I know before we had this baby, man, we better stock up. Cause I'm not trying to go to no damn supermarket. You better stock up, cause I know she ain't gonna be able to go nowhere for a couple of weeks. You got to stock up the whole house, and it got to be with easy stuff. It can't be with nothing I got to thaw out. I don't even know how to do that right. I don't even know how to thaw food out. I don't know how to do none of that. It better be microwavable. Put it on the skillet for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Put in the pot, or put water, boil the water, and then put it on.
All this is what Israelite marriage is.
Exactly. That's what it gotta be, man. That's what it gotta be. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Some brothers can cook, and they very good at it. I just ain't one of them brothers. I'm good at other things, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, God.
I know how to make money.
Right.
I can start a business and make money profitable. I can do that. Don't put me behind no kitchen. Don't put me in no kitchen. Don't do that. So I don't know if I can boil water properly sometimes, man. So man, and this is our marriage right here. Israelite marriage. You know what I'm saying? You gotta love each other, like for real love each other.
Yeah, right.
Not like our oppressor love each other just to, have children. Y'all women is more than that, right? Keep going.
It's a lot of guys around the oppressor. They want to get married and kill each other for life insurance.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
Man, that is Satan right there. Want to kill him for life insurance money? Like this person ain't worth his life is only worth whatever the life insurance policy is. The $100,000. That's what their life is worth. That is tragic, right? Like this person's life isn't more than that. This person here, and it's like a lot of times it's like that with the women killing their husband, trying to do that. This man already especially in it's raised being he's supposed to go and do all the work. The women don't even work a lot of times. So to get rid of the person that's taking care of you, so you can be at home. I know the kids is a headache. Trust me, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, we got them too. So, man, they don't do nothing when I'm there, but you go downstairs, it look like a hurricane went through there. But they be quiet. That's the funny part. I don't hear nothing. I'll be upstairs working, nothing, don't hear nothing. And I'll come downstairs, what the hell? But when she's home, Mama, 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 every 5 seconds, right?
Yes.
But when it's just me, they don't say nothing. They don't say nothing. They just, like I said, just come downstairs. You see juice boxes on top of the TV. Just the cat looked around like, what the hell? Everything just looked just crazy over there. But they was quiet. They said nothing. They just say, hey, can I get something to drink? And that's about it.
That's it. Right. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, but like I said, that's Israelite marriage. Our marriages are, are what the Most High wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Because he seen we was special people. He know that the heathens, they don't really love women like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially the oppressors. They don't love women. To them, like, you know how like a lot of black women, they'll get like a little fooled by it because they'll say like, oh, I've seen like on TV before. Like, oh, he like black girls. Mm-hmm. No, he doesn't. You know what you were like? You know what you are? You just better than this dog. You know what I'm saying? It's like exploration. That's it. Just like when they go to any other place, like they literally be laying with their animals. That's what they be doing, laying with their animals. So just like when they go over to any other country, what do? Just take their women and lay with them. There's a whole bunch of, you go over to wherever there's a military base, there's a bunch of bastard, whatever you want to call, illegitimate children over there that was made by the people in the army. And then they have our brothers out there doing it, because now you go to Germany, there's a lot of black Germans out there because our men laid with the German women, right? Our brothers laid with the German women. That's just military that comes from the oppressor. That's what they do. They go to a place, they just conquer and they take the women, right? All right. Anybody got any questions at all? Guess we close it out.
Oh, so like I said, I had a question. When you was talking about, like the adultery stuff.
Mhm.
So, the man know he's not supposed to leave the woman or whatever. So what happens when he does? And so, is the woman like allowed to go and, I guess, basically remarry or whatever? If, like, how does that work? Because I heard, it was some talk about, something about having a piece of paper, like divorce paper or whatever. And this was like in the Israelite community, saying that if he left, if I guess like he has to say, okay, I don't want, and so he's committing adultery because he left. But what does the woman do?
I got you. I'll break it down for you. All right. All right. Mama, sorry. Can you give me let me get Deuteronomy chapter 24 and 1. I'm gonna break the whole thing down to you, then I'll probably close out. All right.
Oh God.
All right. Mashallah, do you understand that too, or
Yeah,
you understand all of that? What she said?
Sir.
You know how to answer it too?
I've heard something about that too, but I don't, I really don't know what it means what a man can just right.
I'll iron it all out completely for you. Yeah, you gonna understand 100%. All right. You got that for me, Mama son? Go ahead.
Chapter 24:1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it comes to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, let him write her a bill of divorcement.
So this was said, we found unfavor, something like he didn't find favor, like she didn't appeal, like she just wasn't good, like good for him no more, or whatever reason it was. He didn't like her anymore. Favor just means like you enjoy her. You know what I'm saying? You enjoy being around her. Like, sometimes when a woman gets old, she becomes like like a cat lady type of lady. You might not want to be around. You know what I'm saying? So you might not want to be around a cat lady. You're like, why she keep buying cats, man? You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
So you say you can give her a letter, a bill of divorcement. But it's a letter, you give it to her. All right, keep going.
And give it in her hand, and send her out of his house.
So you can send her out, and you can leave. You can go, right? You freed her. Keep going.
Verse 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
And once she leaves, she could be another man's wife, right? Keep going.
Verse 3. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her away, and sendeth her out
So then now, let's say she get married to another man, right? Now he dies or he gets rid of it too. I mean, well, you gotta be a terrible sister, like two men gave you the boot, man. You guys be terrible. You're like, nah, you won't, nah, I don't want it. All right, keep going.
Verse 4, her former husband would send her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
So now you can't even come get her back, right? You gotta leave her there. She gotta go be with somebody else. You can't even take her back. You got rid of her. Cause you know some brothers, they get a little, they want to renege. You know what I'm saying? You like, yeah, she did do one thing I like. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real, man. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. That's what this is. It's got to be practical. How do men, you know, man, this men are, right? You be like, dang, man, she was a dragon, but dang. I ain't going no details, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Keep going.
After that, she is defiled.
Yeah, she is defiled now. You can't go be word again, right? Keep going.
For that is abomination before the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt not cause the land to say,
Keep going.
when the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
All right. So once she is gone, and you can't get her back. You already gotten rid of her, right? This is to protect Israel, because now you already got rid of the woman. Like, do you know what damages our sisters more than anything? Men throwing them away. That is the biggest damage to our sisters. That does more damage to them than anything. Like our women, they can deal with more so if you have another woman. The part that makes them hate it is that you might throw them away. Now the thing about it, a lot of times, even if a sister, she may not want that husband to have another wife, but once she knows that you're not gonna throw her away, a lot of times they'll be a little bit more accepting of it, because the whole point of it is that our women have been traumatized. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, just think, like, from the time they was children, they were only looked upon as sexual objects their whole life, right? I mean, we all have, even men have, to some extent, right? We all have, right? So they've been looked upon as sexual objects their whole entire life. And now they see another woman as a threat. And that should never be the way in Israel. Another woman should never be a threat to the wife that you already have. But that's because they've been indoctrinated in I'm gonna say it, the oppressor's culture.
Right.
They've been indoctrinated in it. Now you only can have one wife at a time. And they feel as though once that happens, they don't, like, a lot of times too, because women, they'll look at it through their minds. They can only really love and respect one man at a time. You know what I'm saying? Generally speaking, of course. And if a woman gets like that, it's a lot of times due to having a lot of different men. But if you only had a few men, the less you are able to do that. Like, it takes them to do that. But men, we can love many women and never take from our current wife. Correct?
Okay.
So that's one thing is, now let's go to this. Go to found it. So I gotta spell it right. Found it. Okay. Go to Matthew 19:3 for me. Matthew 19:3. I'm out, sorry, you got it? Alright.
Matthew chapter 19 and 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause?
Okay, so now the Pharisees coming, you know the thing about the Pharisees, they were always trying to confound Christ, right? So he said, is a man able to put away his wife for any cause? This is what they were, because this is what Moses was saying you can do. If you don't find favor in your wife, well, you can be gone. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Verse 4. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female?
So now you checking them. Have you not read? Right? Have you not read the Most High? He made male and female, right? Keep going.
Verse 5. And said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife,
Keep going.
and they twain shall be one flesh.
It's talking about Adam. He said a man will leave his father and mother and take hold of his wife, and they will become one flesh. So now if you one, you can't take your flesh and give it to somebody else. This is y'all are one now. Y'all are one. You can't get rid of your flesh, right? And this is at the beginning, correct? All right. Keep going.
Verse 6. Wherefore, there are no more twain, but one flesh.
There are no more twain. There are no more two. There's one flesh. Keep going.
Therefore, God hath joined together, and no man put asunder.
So what God put together, let no man undo it. Get rid of it. Keep going.
Verse 7. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a whipping of the woman, and to put her away?
So they said, okay, if that's the case, then why did Moses permit us to give a letter of divorcement? Right? That's what we just read, right? That was in Deuteronomy. He's permitted it, right? Keep going.
He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives.
Keep going.
But from the beginning it was not so.
He said, because of the hardness of your hearts, he let you put away your wife. You get that? That means that, here's what happens. You deal with your woman, she's going to give you hell your whole life. And you know what you got to do? You got to keep softening your heart for her. You have to. There is no other option. You have to. Like, I know you're going to get pissed off. She's going to aggravate the hell out of you. You're going to be like, man, I just want to start over, man. You're going to be like this. But you know what? How you have to do? You have to find something in that woman that you, when you let you know you got her, you have to find that back again. You have this just a complete continuing cycle. I'm sure you all know. You know what I'm saying? Sure you all know, right? You got to keep finding that again. You got to keep your heart soft. It's not even your heart, you know. We talking about your mind. You got to keep your mind soft to her. You can't let it get hard to where you can't, you don't let her back in. See what I'm saying? So it's just an ongoing continuation of, you piss me off, leave me alone right now, let me stew in it, then okay, we can come back together again. And the important part of that is laying with your woman. That makes both of you, that makes both of you soften your hearts towards one another. That's the important part. That's why That's why if you don't lay with your woman, what does it say? If you don't lay with her when she wants you to.
Sir, I don't know.
Alright,
What you say?
See, yes, he.
what happened?
You talking fearlessly now.
No, so like you said, I don't know what scripture it is, but it does say that you are not, that the man is not supposed to, that he's supposed to when she wants him to, right?
Good.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll show you. Go ahead.
I believe it says, do not withhold that which is due to your spouse.
What?
Same for her.
Mm-hmm. That's it. What else does it say? What does it say you have done to her? What does it say you have done to her?
You have, you have sinned. Right.
No, it says a specific word I'm looking for.
Okay.
It says you have defrauded her. You have defrauded her. You know what that means?
Wow, sir.
When you took on this woman, there's an unwritten agreement that you are going to lay with her. And vice versa. There's an unwritten agreement. And you defraud on your agreement. You defraud. It's like a contract you defraud on. That's what you did. You lied. You defrauded them. Alright? Now, let me get to the other part here. Okay, go to verse 1 Corinthians 7 and 10. Okay, well you can go to 5. Go to 5 real quick. Okay? Hey, go to, since that's right here, we can go there. Go to 1 Corinthians 7 and 1. Just read that first part for me. Alright? No, read, go ahead and read the first one. Go ahead.
Oh, God. 1 Corinthians 7 and 10 says,
Yeah, 7 and 1.
God. 1 Corinthians 7 and 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
It is good for a man not to touch a woman. That's a good thing, not to touch a woman, right? Keep going.
Oh, God. Verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
What's fornication?
That every man.
What's fornication? Go ahead.
Like, sir, unlawful sex.
God, unlawful sex. Because you're going to want to get that urge, man, right? Keep going. To avoid that, keep going.
Oh, God. That every man have his own wife.
Keep going.
And let every woman have her own husband.
So now she got somebody to help defeat that, wanting to do fornication, right? Keep going.
Oh, God. Verse 3. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
So it says right there, you render unto the wife due benevolence. As we would say, you give it to her, right? Keep going.
Oh, God. And likewise, also the wife unto the husband.
In the same way, vice versa, right? Keep going.
Verse 4. The wife hath not power of her own body.
It says right there, the wife, she don't have power over her own body. That's your man's body. Keep going.
but the husband.
Yep, he's the one that's power. Keep going.
And likewise, also the husband has not power of his own body, but the wife.
So he don't have power over his own body. Why? Because y'all are one flesh. Do I get that?
Okay.
You in control of your flesh, same way, right? Keep going.
Okay. Verse 5. Defraud ye not one the other.
So it says, don't defraud each other. If you do that to each other, you defraud them. Keep going.
Except it be with consent for a time.
Except it be a consent on both parties. Have the consent. You know, you're like, yo, we just arguing too much. We got to take a little break. Let's take a month and just kind of separate to get our minds together. That's consent for a time. Keep going.
That ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer.
Because you got to build yourself stronger. Fasting and prayer helps build you up stronger, right? That's how, because basically what's going on, this is a demon that's making you not want to, you know what I'm saying, making you hate your wife. That's what it is, a demon. So sometimes to defeat that demon, you have to separate, get some fasting and prayer, and let you sit back and think about, there is some good times with this woman. It might be far and few between, but let's try to recapture some of that, right?
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. And come together again.
And you go come together again. So after that time was gone past, that month, whatever the time is, you usually go through, the way you go through that is you'll have a marriage council typically, and it will say, okay, what you two need is to separate for 30 days, whatever the time frame is. You need to separate for 30 days, and they'll give you an order to follow, that you can get your marriage back on track. Keep going.
That Satan tempt you not for your incontinency.
So then so Satan can't tempt you for you're not laying with somebody. So it can't be a long process, because if it starts getting long, you start yearning. You understand? Okay. Now go to 10.
Okay. First Corinthians and 1. Moreover, brethren,
No,
not that ye.
go to verse 10 for me.
Oh, now, okay. First Corinthians 7 and 10.
Uh-huh.
And
What is it? Go ahead, verse 10.
verse 10. And unto the married
Mm-hmm.
I command ye not I, but the Lord.
So it's not him, he commands you. Not him, the Most High does, right? Keep going.
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
The wife should never depart from her husband, right? Keep going.
Okay. Verse 11. But, and if she depart,
Mm-hmm.
let her remain unmarried.
If she depart, let her remain unmarried. There's been women in the school that have departed from their husband, and they have remained unmarried from brothers in the school, of course. Right? They've departed from their husband. Keep going. Or keep going.
Or be, or be reconciled
Yep.
to her husband.
Or be reconciled to her husband, or she comes back to her husband. Right? Keep going.
And let not the husband put away his wife.
And let not the husband put away his wife. He don't ever put her away. Right? Keep going.
Verse 12. That to the rest speak I,
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
not the Lord.
Uh-huh.
If
Keep going.
and she be pleased, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away.
So if you have your wife, this goes for both parties. You don't put them away if they don't believe, of course, right? They cool to dwell with you. Let them not put her away. But I'm just skipping here a little bit. Go to, but it says here too, the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife and vice versa. All right. Now go to 15.
Okay. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart.
So they decide, because if they gonna leave, they don't believe this. Let them depart. Keep going.
A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases.
It said a brother and sister is not under bondage in these cases because they left you. So now if you have a husband that leaves you, now you can depart and have another husband if the husband leaves you. Now it has to be like a clean leave. It can't be, yeah, we still, connect from, every couple of months when he come into town. You know what I'm saying? It can't be like that. It has to be, he said, I don't want you no more. And he dips off. That's what it has to be. And it has to be something that is done, you have to understand through counsel first. So when that happens, if it happens to a sister, you have to go get counsel on it first. So it determines if that man actually left you or not. Because sometimes a sister, she just might feel like she got left, but he just said, get out my face for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But to you think, hey, I'm gone. I ain't never seen you again. You know what I'm saying? That might be to him, but that might have just been, you know what, I'm tired of you right now. Let me go, let me go over here or wherever I'm going to go, and I'll be back at some point. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you put like this, I had seen some post, and they said, here's how you know if a man making roofs and how, he said if he puts his PlayStation and Xbox in the house, if he take his PlayStation and Xbox out, he probably not
No.
That's not counsel. I speak as a man. I'm not. So if he take his PlayStation and Xbox, or whatever it is, it's a good chance. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, if that happens, you're not under bondage in that case. All right? Okay. Any other questions? Did I answer everything for you? Are you 100% clear on everything? All right, you sure?
Yeah.
All right, kind sis. All right, most of correct. Any other questions or comments? All right. With that, pass the class over to Priest and Officer Marshall.
Give that priest and prophet another call. Drop that heavy knowledge. Oh, man. All right, ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 through 21. Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations is the 53rd Passover in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Remind Akim and Akwatim to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And also into Google, address every time they are heading to the school. And with that, we'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amijah. Amijah Shabbat. Amijah, Barak, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat Barakatah.
Yazmatat, which means hands down. Sar, which means turn. We have some ladies in the class. Amijah.
Praise Salakia. There's a new way to lead the sisters to the salute. Anybody know of it? You sure? All right. Go ahead.
New salute. 40 feet at a 45-degree angle. Right hand over left. Head shame face to the Lord. With that, I'm in Israel, Amijah. Amijah Shabbat. Amijah, Barak, Yahweh
Salakia,
Shema.
stop. Hands be open. There you go. Good? Is it good?
Hands over for us too.
No, for the sisters.
Count.
Keep going.
All right. Yahweh Shemar, Alatham by Hashem, Yahweh Shah.
Yahweh Shema Aladam B'Hashem Yahweh Shah.
All right, Yah from top, means hands down. Class dismissed.
Yeah.